Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing episode 2 here, where we're trying to turn $10 into $1,000 just through disc golf. Now, we're up to $131 currently from 10. We've played one mini and won that, and then we just won another C tier and walked away with $126, so it puts us up to $131. We're going to keep that momentum going today. I'll recap some events that I've played, as well as all of the discs I found in the used bins and what I sold them for. So we're going to tally it up all at the end to figure out where are we sitting after this week. Let's get into it. So now it's time to get into the next C tier we played. This is a $25 entry into the Armory Flex at BB Owens. Have not played many rated rounds here. I had no idea what to expect going in. We actually shot a 995 rated round to tie for second. I am super happy with that. When it was 7 birdies, 2 bogeys to shoot 5 under. We hit all of our circle 1 putts. Also got 2 of 7 on C2 putting, so that was awesome to see. And that left me with a $50 payout. So we ended up making $25 on this one to put us up to $156 to take to the used bins. So after going to Dynamic Discs in Carrollton and Replay in McKinney, we ended up with 12 discs, but I actually took multiple trips to Replay this week in order to find and flip what I'll go through. The challenge here that I'm running into is there's not an unlimited amount of discs that I can find to flip. I've got to be careful about what I'm buying because I need it to be sellable quickly. And I'm not going to try to sit on these things where maybe I could get 50 or 60 bucks. I'll take 30 bucks just to be able to take a $20 profit pretty easily. So that is something to note as we're getting into this. And just this week alone, I have barely found anything in the used bins. It is sometimes hit or miss. That's the reality of this challenge. So if you have ideas on how I can keep making money off of disc golf besides tournaments, besides used bin flips, dying discs and selling them, I'm all ears. We can try some fun things out in this series. So let's get into what I was able to buy, why I bought them, and what we actually flipped these for. Okay, let's get into what we were able to actually buy and sell this week. First up is the special edition Axiom patent pending Fission Fireball. This one was awesome. I know if I wouldn't have showed up right then and there to buy that one, somebody would have snagged that one right away. So we ended up getting that one for 12 bucks, sold it for 26. Talk about profit and everything at the end. Now, next up, I've got this cool bubble. It's a Innova-made Discmania PD2. It's like a Blizzard rim plus Blizzard and a flight plate, which I've heard about these cool PD2s before. Super lightweight. It was only 146. So there's a very small market for discs like this, but I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. I couldn't find anything else in the used bins that day. We walked away with those 2. I also sold this one on the Discmania, or maybe it was the disc golf auctions or something like that. It was like 26 bucks. So good flip right there. You joining me, Snake? I think Snake's joining me on this one. All right, so this is a pinned Champion Destroyer from Innova. Pinned means, again, it's an older run. This was actually a clear plastic disc. It was a clearance disc from Dynamic Discs in Carrollton, Texas. I don't even know if I actually recorded picking this one out, but I could tell from the stamp, which is going to be really hard to see, that it was an older run of Innova with the massive X behind the logo. So I knew it was going to be pinned. It's got the patent numbers embossed underneath here, so a much older run. The crazy part about this was like a $4 disc in the clearance section. So what that means is I threw a die on it to try to get it to sell for a little bit more. I think if it was just a normal clear Destroyer, it would have taken a while. It would have sat for a while like on eBay, but I need to move some of these discs a little bit quicker. So it probably cost me about $1, maybe $2. Please don't destroy my cool painting. It probably looks like $1 or $2. That's it to dye this. 24 hours in the glue bed. Actually, this is probably 48 hours in a glue bed to get this result. We sold this for 10. I threw it on dollar disc golf auctions just to try to get this to move. You know, you've got like $5 shipping on that, so that covers my shipping costs and make $6 on it. Not my best, but I figured, you know what, throw it on dollar disc golf auctions. You're not going to get a lot for discs that you put up there, but easy to flip and move some of the cheaper plastic right there. So this is an older run of the Mayhem. It doesn't have flight numbers on the disc. So this is a little bit older run. It's going to say patent pending here on the bottom. This disc cost me $11. This came from Dynamic Discs in Carrollton, Texas, where I found a couple cool patent pending runs. So we picked this one up and I threw it up there on the Facebook Marketplace, not Facebook Marketplace. We threw it up there on Facebook in the MVP buy sell trade, and we actually sold this for actually it was about $26 shipped. So I went back to replay and I found another one of these Echo Star destroyers. Now I tried to give you guys a heads up that these were in there, but I guess you guys didn't check through the clearance section, because these things are absolutely gorgeous. So these were only $8. I'm not really sure why. I think it's because it was Echo Star plastic, and I'll take it. Yeah, it's actually at a discount. Normally Star plastic is $12 in the used bin, and this is a brand new Echo Star destroyer for $8. That's pretty sick. And these feel stupidly good. Like, I was really tempted to throw these, but we got these for $8 each. Sold them for 22. After shipping and everything taken out, it was 22 bucks per disc. So we actually made 14 each on these. So that puts us up to another 28 towards our goal of $1,000. And the next thing I was able to pick up was this patent pending Envy. There were actually a couple patent pending discs in the Dynamic Disc Carrollton used bins. So we got a patent pending pre-flight number Envy, which was incredibly cool. Those discs are hard to find. I actually sold that to somebody I met in a tournament. So shout out to Alex. He picked it up for 30 bucks. So that went from like a, $8 or $10 disc to 30. I'll have to check exactly what it was. And then I also had a patent pending Insanity I found from Replay Sports. Again, I look for a lot of the patent pending stuff because it's an older era. This is like the original plastic, and it has a little bit of collectability. With age, it's almost like anything almost kind of goes up in value in disc golf. But it's a cool run. People like collecting the patent pending stuff. So I sold that one for 25 bucks as well for a quick flip. And then I got this Proton Inspire. This is patent pending, pre-flight number. I never even heard of this mold. It's out of production. So if you find some of those that just are no longer accessible through like the typical manufacturing process, like the thrills, those are going to go for a little bit more. So there's a little bit more collectability with those that are out of production. That's what OOP stands for if you see those on listings. But we're able to sell that one pretty easily for 25 bucks, which was an awesome quick flip. And then I had this Skullboy Nomad, Electron Firms, triple stamp, but it was only 166 grams, which is like it's a little bit on the lighter side. People like putting with max weight putters, so the wind doesn't mess with it too much, but somebody still bought this one off me for 20 bucks. Lastly, we'll get into this KC Pro Rock, the No Time Rock, and I go into a little bit more detail here. When I was looking through the used bins and I saw this KC Pro Rock, it caught my eye for two reasons. Reason number one is that it does not have flight numbers on the disc. These are called pre-flight number discs, PFN. If you ever hear me say that, it'll say multi-purpose, it'll say long distance driver, something like that. So these are before the 2009 era, whenever flight numbers came out. So this disc is, at this point, at least 16 years old. It's also pinned. So pinned is also a good way to tell how old the disc is if it's embossed versus pinned, if it's a more recent run. Pinned is older. I've picked up some other KC Pro Rocks recently, these 12-time Kin Climo editions. This one's embossed, this one is pinned. Again, that's how you can tell the difference between a newer rock and an older rock. So if you're looking at these, pay attention to those. But getting into those, these can go for a lot of money, and I decided, I'm gonna keep an eye out for some of these KC Pro Rocks. I looked through it and noticed it didn't have anything here. So normally you're gonna see one of their players with 10 time, 11 time, 9 time, whatever it is, right? Different versions of this. And again, kind of symbolizes the era. Just like the Paul Macbeth 4 claws are super sought after. This is when he won his 4th world title. He's up to 6 now. This is termed the No Time Rock. So if you see one of these, maybe you want to pick it up, but it was only 148 grams, which is not great to resell. You try to go for more of like the max weight discs, but if you see something like this, I took a gamble. It was only $8 in the used bin. We actually sold this for $20 on eBay within one day. I threw it up there, and I know there's discs that were much higher priced than mine. I threw it up for 30, got an offer for 20, and I was glad to take it because it means I can quickly move on, reinvest now into maybe 2 more discs from this. So we went from 8 to 1603 net profit, bumps it up a little bit, and now I can go reinvest it. Time to go drop this off at the post office. But I'm super happy because it took a little bit of a risk and doubled our money. So let's do a recap here. If you want to pause the screen, take a look at everything, go ahead and do that. But we ended up with $122 in profit, flipping these 12 discs. That's a great start. Really, really good start. So let's take a look at where we are now. That leaves us with a $278 return on our $10 so far. So what we can do now is look for some more used discs. I do have some tournaments I'm going to be signing up for, so make sure you stay tuned for what's going to happen next.